I think we can get started now. So good evening, everyone. To thank you all for coming and taking your time out of your day to come listen to this meeting. And I want to start off with a quick introduction of myself and of DataRizon. So I'm Ethan. I'm from Frisco, Texas, and I'll be hosting this meeting. For those unfamiliar with DataRizon, it is a non-profit organization that is looking to create opportunities for people like us, other high schoolers, and future generations as big data becomes more and more relevant in every field of study. And what we have today is a very special guest. I want to introduce Flora Wu, who is right now the current senior data architect at Amazon Web Services. And for those of you that are unfamiliar,
哎呀，别说话，人在听你在干啥？
不要去坐车了。
Don't worry, please put it on mute.
Sorry about that. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, Amazon Web Services is the #1 cloud platform, and many companies utilize this cloud in order to stay ahead the curve as technology keeps advancing. And so without further ado, I'll let Flora introduce herself. Take it away.
Thanks for the short introduction, Ethan, and good evening or good morning, wherever you are. It is nice to meet you. And I'm Flora Wu, and I'm excited to talk about various job opportunities and the challenges and the fun for students who major in computer science and related fields. And I know it is a weekend for you, so we're just going to have a fun conversation, not a big deal. So first, I will share with you my own career path, talk about why I chose computer science as my major. In fact, I got both my bachelor degree and master degree in computer science. And I also want to talk about the lessons I learned along the way. So hopefully it can help you avoid those failures and traps in your study and in your career. After that, I want to talk a little bit more about my current job at Amazon as a data architect, and what do I do on a daily basis? How do I allocate my time to be productive? After that, I will talk about the outlook of the computer science career, the challenges and the fun. And hopefully you can get some useful information from this talk and make your decision to say whether you want to study computer science in universities. Finally, I will leave some time for you to ask questions. And as I said, to keep the conversation fun. So first, how do I get here today, right? My own career path. I'm not like many of you who were born here. I was born and raised in China. I'm from Sichuan province, which is a birthplace for panda and is famous for spicy food. So when the time came to apply for university, I didn't really know what I wanted to study. So I just chose the two most popular major at that time. One is finance and the other is computer science. I actually didn't do very well in my entry exam for university. So I ended up going to the second choice of the university and studied computer science. However, it was a blessing and disguise. I fell in love with computer science. When you know it probably, when you have interest in something, it just becomes much easier for you to learn it, for you to master it. And also, I was very good at mathematics and physics. In a way, my passion met my strengths. So I got my bachelor degree in computer science and worked a few years in Shanghai. Then I wanted to see a bigger world. My ambition was beyond Shanghai. So I applied for university in US and got offer from University of Illinois and Chicago. Back in 2003, I came to US and started in UIC. In 2 years, I got my master's degree and started to work. I joined a consulting firm and started my career as a consultant. If you ask me today, why do you choose to start your career as a consultant? There are many reasons I could tell you, but the fact is I love to travel. And I know as a consultant, I got the opportunities to travel for work. Before pandemic, consultants work on site and customers company. I used to travel Monday to Thursday. Looking back, starting my career as a consultant was actually a smart move. First, as a consultant, you get opportunity to work for company in different industries. So in a short time, you can gain rich working experience from different companies. Second, for each assignment, normally you have to go through an interview conducted by the customer, and then you have to always keep up with the latest technologies and keep your resume up to date. Third, you have to polish your communication skills, right? You have to get to know people in a different company in a short time and to build relationships. That's how you can get the work done. Finally, in the future, when you apply for new jobs, a consulting experience is a big help. That makes you stand out. I didn't know all about this when I chose consulting, but I collected the dots when I looked back and helped me. One interesting story I wanted to share with you was how I got my first customer. So in my consulting firm, normally you have to go through minimal 1 month training before you will be assigned to any customer. So I think it was in my second or third week into my job, I was still in my training. There was an opportunity coming up, and KeyBank from Cleveland. They want a team from my company with 4 people. My boss actually already have the 4 candidates. But he said to me, he said, "Hey, Flora, why don't you give a try, just as a practice?" I said, "Why not?" Then I went for the interview. And the funny thing is that the company actually picked me up instead of somebody who has more working experience than me. That's how I got my first assignment. And I learned by doing. I learned everything at my first assignment. After 4 years in consulting, I felt it was time to change and recharge myself. I realized I had a great interest in business. Technology is fun for sure, but whatever we do, there is a business reason behind of it, right? We have to make profit, right? So, and I want to know more about business, management, and strategy. Then I applied for Kellogg, Northwestern, and got acceptance. It was a big decision. I wanted to warn everyone who might want to pursue a part-time MBA after a few years of work in the future. It is great for your career, but it is a big investment. It's a big investment of your money, your time, and your energy. I started my MBA program back in 2010. It cost about $5,000 to $6,000 per course, and the tuition increased every year. So in order to graduate, I needed total 20 courses. So it cost me more than $120K. But more than the money, I had to go to school with a full-time job. I took classes in the evening and I worked on group projects during the weekend. It was very, very tough. But it is worth it. An MBA opened a new door for me. So with many opportunities, it changed my perspective, right? It kind of made me to see the bigger picture, not just the technical work. And with an MBA degree from a famous university, it could help you launch a great career in the future. So I would recommend to each of you if you would consider it in the future. With this part-time MBA program, I could no longer travel. Then I joined TransUnion, which is my last client. TransUnion is a credit data company headquartered in Chicago, and I had been with TransUnion for over 10 years. I worked in different projects and met a lot of good friends during this time. That's the benefit of working for a company for a long time. Before I left TransUnion, I was a data architect for analytics. So I provided architectural guidance for data applications and for infrastructure need to support their big data platform. And a few years ago, TransUnion started this cloud journey, and I was in charge of data migration and building advanced analytics and machine learning platform on the cloud. It was a lot of fun. Although it has been a very happy journey with TransUnion, it was time to change. So a recruiter from Amazon Web Service reached out to me, and I decided to give a try. And here I am today. I'm with Amazon Service as a senior resident architect. Before I dive deep into what I do at Amazon as a data architect, does anyone have any question for me? Okay, no. Anyway, I will leave some time for you to ask me questions later. So I want to recap the lessons I learned along the way and my recommendation for you, and you soon will be a college student. So first, I think for computer science, practice is very important. If it is not the most important thing, you should learn by doing, right? It is good to have a great GPA, of course, but what is more important is to have hands-on experience. For example, if you are learning a programming language, let's say a Python or Java, the most popular programming language, no matter how many programming books you read, right? Without writing your first program, you're not really doing coding. So you have to practice, you have to get your hands dirty. And it is always a great idea to get an intern job in a tech company if you major in computer science. If you do a good job, you might get hired after graduation, or if not, they can give you a good recommendation and help you launch a good job in other companies. Second, you need to build your network as early as possible. Don't just focus on study and not doing anything out of study, right? You have to go social, go have fun, and make friends. When you start to work, a good network can give you a lot of good opportunities. Third, if you can, work for a consulting firm. If you could join a big consulting firm like McKinsey, Accenture, that's great. But if not, you can join a small consulting firm will do the same benefit to you as well. It can not only accelerate your career, but giving you experience in different industries in such a short time. Just like what happened to me, that helped me a lot. Finally, get an MBA to learn more about business and polish your leadership, management, and communication skills. Any questions so far?
Yeah, Flora, I had one question about, I know you're in the space of computer science and that, but I was wondering how what you do, like data analysis, how that can help in other areas, maybe not computer science, say like business, finance, things like that.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I was planning to talk about when I talk about what I do, but I can answer your question right now. That's a good question, yes. For example, you asked me about data analysis, right? So basically data analysis is really a process, like you extract your data, collect your data, transform your data, cleansing your data, inspecting your data to get meaningful information from your data. And this kind of information you get from your data will help your company to make better and faster decisions. And you also asked me about how can I apply data analysis in other fields, like apply in finance. For example, you can build a model to predict the stock market, right? The outcome of your stock in the future. That'd be very helpful in your investing. I know you have a great interest in invest, Ethan. So that's one thing it can help. Also think about if you apply computer science in medical, right? You might find a cure for cancer. How amazing that is. And also, for example, today we are research to create the driverless cars, right? Those are all related to computer science. Also with computer science, with machine learning, with AI, we can build robots. Many things happen in the sci-fi, in the scientific movies might become true in reality. That's a lot of amazing things computer science can help. Data analysis can help us. Does that answer your question, Ethan?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, sure. You know what? As I said, it's weekend. Before I talk about what I'm doing now with Amaran now, I just had an on-site meeting in the headquarters in Seattle. Is anyone from Seattle on this meeting? Anyone from Seattle? No? Okay. I want to share you some pictures I took when I was at Seattle in the headquarters of Amaran. Let me share my screen. Host this. Oh, okay. Can you give me the permission?
Does it work now?
Okay, let me try. Okay, yeah, I think it works. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, okay, sure. This is me. So this is inside the headquarters in Amaran office in Seattle. But what I want to show you is actually, let me show you. There is a very nice place. If you go to Seattle in downtown, and if you go to a Amaran headquarters around there, there is a place called I think. Called the spheres. So it basically a building. A sphere are a place where employees from Amaran can think and work there, and it is open for public during the weekend. You can always reserve the visit during the weekend. It is very beautiful, has a lot of different kinds of plants, flowers. I took some pictures there. So this is one. So that's a sphere. I took a picture there. And some other things, but for example, this one, some plants inside, another one. This is nice too, and this also inside that. Yeah, just some fun stuff to show. You can, if you like, if you somehow go to visit Seattle, definitely give a visit to this place called the Sphere. Okay. Okay, good, good. So let me continue. So I shared with you about my career path, and also Ethan was asking me about also a typical day at Amaran as a data architect. So as an architect, basically, I help Amaran's enterprise customers to define and accelerate their data and analytics strategies and help them to execute that strategy. For example, I help them to migrate their data center to the cloud. I help them to modernize their data platform to derive useful information from the data sooner and reduce the cost. That's majorly what I'm doing. And for a typical day, I normally split my time to first working with my customers, and then a major part of my work will be work with my customers to build their data solutions. And then I also spend some time for self-learning, right? I have to keep up with latest technologies in this field. And good thing or bad thing about computer science, about working in the technology field is there's always something new. You have to keep studying. If you are a curious person, that's fun. But if you feel after graduation, you no longer want to study, then probably computer science is not the right fit for you. And for remaining time, I probably will attend meetings. On average, I have 2 to 3 meetings per day. And I also do some administrative to carry on my work. So that is a typical day for me. Okay, that's about that. Finally, I think I want to talk a little bit about the outlook for computer science career. Computer science basically is a booming market. So when it comes to earning a degree in computer science, I think it takes hard work and commitment, right? And that's why it is good to know what may happen after you graduate. Computer scientists work in a variety of industries. This is because the world is becoming more and more dependent on computer science and on technologies. So according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the field of computer science is growing much faster than average and 16% growth per year. Computer scientists can work in a wide variety of job titles like software developer, web developer, computer game designer, data analyst, data scientist, cloud engineer, data architect like me. And it is very high paying. It is also of importance to note that the careers within the field are high paying. In fact, the degree leads to some of the highest paying positions of all undergraduate degrees. The high demand, high pay, and the high amount of positions with this field of computer science make it worthwhile for you to consider to pursue this degree. I personally really like it. And there are tons of career paths, right? And you can become some people like me, focus on data architect. But based on the survey, the highest paying job in computer science right now, #1 is cloud engineer, big data cloud engineer. Second one is a artificial intelligence research scientist. #3 is data scientist. But every position is great for you to try. What else? Also just some fun facts. There are famous people, they major in computer science. For example, obviously, I guess everybody know Mark Zuckerberg, who is the CEO and founder of Facebook, and also Steve Jobs, who was the founder and CEO of Apple. These are all celebrities. They had a degree in computer science. I think that's everything I want to talk about. As I said, I want to keep this conversation fun, and I want to hear some questions from the audience, not just me talking. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Yeah, I have a question about earlier you mentioned all the different types of programming language like Python and Java. Is there any one that you'd say is like the best or the most useful?
Sure. Yes, there are many programming languages out there: Java, Python, Spark, and Scala, many other languages. So as a beginner, I would recommend Python. There are many reasons. Okay, first, Python has the simplest syntax. It's easy to learn. For example, if you write a code in Java, it might take you, let's say, 2,000 pieces of code, right? 2,000 lines of code. But with Python, you might write it in 1,000 lines of code because the syntax is super simple. It's easy to pick up. Second, Python is also very powerful. You can use Python to write let's say to create a website. You can also use Python for data analysis. A lot of data scientists, they use Python to build models and to train their models. That's second. Third, Python is extensible. You can write code, use libraries written in other language like C, C++, and then you can use them as a library in Python. So there are many other reasons, but I would highly recommend Python as your first programming language.
And we have a question in the chat. Faye asked, what is the difference between a data architect and a data scientist?
Okay, sure. First, let me talk. Yes, there are similarities and there are differences. First, let me talk about data architect. So data architect, basically, you have to think about the big picture. You have to think about the full life cycle of data, right? How you want to extract, ingest your data, how you want to store your data, how you want to analyze your data, manage your data, and produce useful information from your data. And you not only need to think about you basically need to have the bigger picture of the overall data system. That's about data architect. And for data scientists, it's more focused about my understanding more focused on data analysis, and a lot of data scientists have a background in mathematics. They do they get statistic information from the data, and they build models. For example, about one thing I mentioned, predicts the stock market outcome. You can also develop model, for example, for fraud detection, and those work is done by data scientists.
And Helen had a question. Just what I'm not sure what it is, but like,
okay, R software. Yeah, R is very popular too. So R actually used a lot by the data analysts and data scientists. It's very useful. I think it's a good tool to have. Compared to Python, Python is not just used by data scientists or data analysts. Python is more about a general programming language. So that's the difference. But yeah, R is very useful. Definitely, if you want to study R, that's good, especially if you want to become a data scientist.
And XG asks, does data ethics play a role in your job?
What do you mean exactly, data ethics? I would love actually not just type the questions. So who is the person ask these questions? Can you introduce yourself a little bit and tell me a little bit more about what exactly do you mean the data ethics? Feel free to talk, right? We want to have an interactive meeting, not just me talk. So when you talk about data ethics, I'm thinking about maybe you're talking about, for example, like the bias in our data scientist work. I think that play a big role for data science. I don't know that deep. Me, myself, I'm a data architect, but I think that's a big topic. Yes, I agree that's a big topic for data science. And I think it's more tied into like data bias. How would you avoid that bias in your modeling and in your predictions? What's the next question?
Yeah, the next question is, what subjects should people, wait, let me read. What subjects should people apply for if they want to focus on computer science in college?
Sure. I think for college, right? If you want to have a degree, a bachelor degree for computer science, I believe mathematics subjects are very important. You will have some classes focused on that, and also you will take some foundation classes. For example, if I remember correctly, in university, I took database, for example. Those are the software engineering. I also learned Java. I remember many years ago as a programming language. Later on in my master degree, I learned C, C++. Those are the courses you should focus on in college. Yeah, I believe so. To add to this, I believe there are required courses for computer science major. There are also classes you want to pick based on the interest. For example, if you are interested in graphics, right, you can pick up some class focus on that field, depending on what you want to do in the future. Yeah.
Hi, Flo, one question.
Sure.
So yeah, if they want to learn computer science in college, so for high schooler, so what subject should they take?
Sure. Yeah. One thing, as I mentioned, I believe there are required courses. Those are the foundations for computer science, as for example, basics for database, basics for software engineering, and I believe mathematics, for example, calculus would be one of the courses you're going to take, if I remember correctly. But yeah, to build a good foundation for a problem solving and for foundation of computer science. Like you need to know about, for example, about the operational system, about a few programming language, and the foundation of computer science.
Thank you.
Sure. Nice to meet you.
And Flora, so I had one question about your everyday work life, which is like, how much teamwork do you do? Like work with other people, not customers, but like other people in the same field?
Okay, sure. I'd say for different positions and even for different companies, it would be different. When I was with TransUnion, my previous company, I was always working with a team, right? Sometimes as an individual contributor, what you can do is limited. But I had a data team. I need a data team. So basically, I provide them guidance, and then let's say we work on a project to build a data warehouse. And then I have a team to do the work. I have to review the work and to do code review, to do design review. And the team together, we make progress. So I always work in a team. In my current job, I majorly work with my customers. My customers are all, like, for example, biggest financial institutes. So most of the time I spend work with my customer will be on the room meeting to discuss their progress and to discuss the challenges they are facing. And then I sometimes help them to resolve the issue, and sometimes just brainstorming to find the right solution. So I have to say, you will work a lot with a team. But of course, I also hopefully get some time for myself, so I can recharge myself to do some self-learning.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for doing this talk. This is amazing info that you've really given us. So really thanks for taking the time to coming in and talking to us about all this stuff. I guess for my question, if you were to just give one piece of advice to someone breaking into this kind of field for the first time, what is the most important thing you think someone could take away kind of from this talk for you?
Sure. A lot of things. Thanks for the question, Amy. I think it's a great question. Actually, a lot of things come to my mind to answer this. I would say, actually, above all, right? I hope somebody in this field, not just because this field make a lot of money. I hope it's really it is your passion. You do have interest in computer science, and this is also, if somehow it is also your strength, right? Your passion meets your strengths. I think that would be the best. That would be my advice, to like to find your passion as early as possible in your life. And second thing, so to focus on computer science, I feel my advice for somebody go to university is, don't just focus to get a high score, get a great grade. It is very important for people study computer science to get hands-on. you have to learn some basic programming language. You have to do some projects, like to get to know the real world projects. And that will help you when you graduate from your school and start real work. Otherwise, you feel a big difference. What you learned in school might not what you expect at your work. So like learning by doing, definitely pick up a program language and practice it. That's my advice.
Yeah, thanks. That was really helpful. Yeah, for sure. Also, I guess as a kind of a follow-up, where do you kind of see the field? I guess, first of all, kind of how Amazon's kind of data structure has been working, but also just the field of data science in general. What do you think is kind of next for the field, like coming up? Because I know there's been big discussions about AI and kind of deep learning, but what do you think is kind of the next step, I guess, for the field in general?
Sure. Yeah, I think for the future, right? There are two fields. One, as you mentioned, one is AI, machine learning. Definitely, that has a bright future. There are a lot of usage in that. One thing I mentioned before, like what we are doing is researching AI to create robot who can work for us, to create the driverless cars, and to do research in medical. That's one side. Second side is really because I'm working for Amazon, right? I focus on this cloud, on Amazon Web Service. I think cloud has the brightest future, especially during this pandemic. We realized everyone, we work from home now, we work remotely, and there is a great need for this cloud computing, and for everyone work remotely easily, and then with reduced cost, with improved security, and with a lot of benefits there. And a company do not have to have a big working resource focused on build their data center, focus on a provisioning their servers, and we can have everything on the cloud, and you only pay for what you use. You don't have to have a big capital investment at the beginning. So those are the fields I see. One is about AI, the other one is about cloud computing. Does that answer your question, Amy? Is that what you are looking for?
Yeah, definitely. It's very, very comprehensive. Thank you.
Sure.
So we have another question in the chat, which is, what is your favorite part about your job?
Favorite part about my job? Okay. So I've say two things about my job. That's my favorite part. One part is, right, when I work with my customers and I help them to build their end-to-end data strategy. The exciting part is after I provide the guidance and I see the impact in that company. For example, we keep track about the so there are different ways to keep track about the impact of the work on our customers. It can be about how much revenue we help them to produce because the solutions we help them to build, right? For example, we help them to build a fraud detection, and that avoid the consumers to like lost a lot of money, let's say millions of dollars of money in fraud. That's one thing. Like when I see the impact about my work, that's my favorite part. Second part, to be honest, I'm a hands-on data architect. Sometimes it's just if I can resolve a technical challenge and to build something to resolve the issue, and it's not just about talking about architecture, but it's really about for example, I made some program, and that program resolve some real issue. I think that make me most excited. So that's the second favorite part about my job.
So another question is, what are the strengths and weaknesses of women in your profession?
So first thing I want to mention, in computer science, in technology field, women are still the minority, right? Most of the time I go to a meeting, I am the only woman. I am the only woman in that room. So it happens. I don't want to call it the weakness. I just want to say there are still bias in this tech field. That's first thing. When talk about strengths, actually, I feel for women, at least, for example, women in Amaran, I feel we really help each other. We support each other. Sometimes we pick up interesting projects, we work on them together, we write a white paper together, we deliver a project. So I think the strength is women really support women. So that's the strength I said. My hope is more and more women choose computer science, choose technical work as their career and enjoy that work.
And so another question is, what is the biggest difficulty in your work?
Okay, there are a lot of challenges in my work. I have to say, relatively, I am a shy person. So even like for this event, right, talk to you, I'm also got a little bit nervous here. But at my work, I have to always talk to my customers. I have a lot of meetings, and I have to quickly to learn about my customers, their industry, what are the biggest challenge for them, and I have to help them resolve those issues. And when for example, when I work in TransUnion, we are doing the cloud migration. We have consultants from Amaran Web Service. When there was a challenging question, we let the consultants help them to resolve it. But today, I am the one. When people have the Chinese problem, they come to me. So I have to really sometimes dive deep into the challenge and find the creative solutions there. That are the biggest challenge for me. So, yeah. So Ethan, come here. I was actually helped to hear like from the audience, like ask some questions about the audience. Like for example, I don't know some of you whether you have decided to like major in computer science. What kind of programming language have you learned? Like I would love to hear a little bit from my audience, not just me kept talking. I don't know, either somebody want to do a self-introduction, talk a little bit about the interesting work they are doing or they plan to do in the future. No?
I guess I can introduce myself. I know I've been talking a little too, but I'm Eat. So I plan on majoring in, I don't know if it's computer science or maybe a related field like finance or business that needs a lot of computer science. And so I think computer science is still going to be extremely useful even in other fields, like you mentioned before.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I can go next. Hi, I'm Amy.
Hey, Amy.
Yeah, I'm a senior in high school, and I'm actually the founder of DataRizon here. So it's really nice for you to join us here.
Nice to meet you.
But yeah, I'm a senior. I'll be going most likely in a data science major, so it's it's very relevant to my interests here. But yeah, I guess programming languages, R and Python mainly my main people. Mainly I go into research is kind of my direction at the moment, but definitely looking into industry and the kind of things that you mentioned here as well. Should definitely very important, very helpful. So yeah, once again, thanks for everything you do here. It's great.
Thank you so much, Amy. Thanks for inviting me to this event. So you said you want to become a data scientist. Like what field do you want to do it? Like focus on, for example, education, focus on medical, or it's just like what's your dream job?
Well, I mean, for the moment, I've been doing things in computational biology, so that's that's my main direction here.
That's
So
very exciting. Mhm.
yeah, definitely a lot of medical things, but yeah, I don't know, college is a time to explore, I guess, I think, as you mentioned. So for sure, we're gonna we'll see what happens
Yes.
as you go.
Do you plan to go for a master degree, or you want to first gain some working experience and then think about it at that time?
I mean, a master degree would always be nice, I think, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't be opposed to working experience for sure. Yeah. Actually, that kind of brings me to, I was going to ask this question before we kind of went to this segment, but where would you, because I know you mentioned before that connections and kind of networking has probably been one of the most important parts about kind of your job working here. So I guess where would you say did you find the most networking like opportunities, and like where did you usually go to kind of find these connections in the field?
Sure, definitely. So first at work, right? There's normally, for example, happy hours. At that time, people from different departments, they will go there, and that give you opportunity to meet more people, even from your company, right? If you work for a big company, there are thousands of people, even more than that. You might not get chance to work with each of them. And if you go to a go to a happy hour event, you get a chance to meet more people. You can just randomly go to somebody and introduce yourself and talk to them. That's one way to do it. And also because before pandemic, I believe you know, there are a lot of social events like meetups. I used to pick up some interest meetups. For example, before I joined Amaran, I used to go to a meetup talking about like AWS users in Chicago. I go to those events. In those events, you meet people from different companies and even different field. So even you don't want to looking for a new job, it's always helpful you talking to people with different background, different ideas, and different perspectives. That's the second thing I would recommend. Go to meetups, pick up the interesting ones, go to just make friends. Third one, if you like in the future, like me, what I did is I applied for MBA program. I did that. That was the best opportunity for you to build your network. A lot of people, when they go to MBA, they already worked for a few years, and a lot of them already had a good career. I met lawyers, I met entrepreneurs at my MBA classes. What I didn't do well when I looked back is I was too busy at that time. I had a full-time job. I had to go to class. So we had a lot of events after work or during the weekend. I just couldn't make it. When I look back, I feel, wow, I don't have to spend that much time on my courses, right? I could even spend a little bit more time to go to the social events and meet more people. That might help you more than just study. That's how I feel when I look back. So those are some recommendations.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. It's really
Sure.
helpful.
Thank you. Sure. Ethan, I think we are good. If there's no more question, we can give everyone a few more minutes back. It's Saturday.
Sure. So does anyone have any final questions that they want to ask? If not, well, thank you everyone for coming and listening. It's almost been an hour, so I don't want to take any of your time. So this concludes the meeting, and feel free to leave. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much, Ethan, and thanks, Amy. Okay then. Bye, Ethan.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.